In a world that thrummed with the relentless pulse of activity, where the cacophony of life often drowned out the whispers of serenity, the idea of creating a quiet space felt like an elusive dream. The city, with its towering buildings and bustling streets, was a symphony of noise. Honking cars, chattering crowds, and the distant wail of sirens all blended into a constant backdrop of sound. For many, this was the rhythm of life, a familiar melody that accompanied their daily routines. But for others, the clamor was suffocating, a barrier to introspection and peace. Amelia was one of those seeking refuge from the chaos. She lived in a small apartment on the 5th floor of an aging building that overlooked a busy intersection. The sounds of the city seeped into her life like an unwelcome guest, invading her thoughts and disrupting her focus. She longed for a sanctuary, a place where she could retreat and find solace amidst the noise. It was not merely about escaping the sounds. It was about cultivating an environment where she could reconnect with herself, where the outside world faded into a gentle hum rather than a jarring roar. One rainy afternoon, as droplets danced against her window, Amelia decided it was time to transform her small living space into a haven of tranquility. She began by decluttering her surroundings, removing items that no longer served her. Old magazines, mismatched furniture, and knickknacks that had lost their charm were all carefully sorted, with some destined for donation and others tossed away. With each item she removed, she felt a lightness in her heart, as if she were shedding layers of noise that had accumulated over the years. Next, she turned her attention to the walls. The pale yellow paint had once felt cheerful, but now it seemed to amplify the chaos. She envisioned soft, muted tones that would cradle her in calmness. After a trip to the local hardware store, she returned with cans of paint in shades of lavender and soft grey. As she painted, she lost herself in the rhythm of the brush strokes, the gentle scent of the paint mingling with the sound of rain outside. Each sweep of colour transformed the space, creating a cocoon that felt more inviting and serene. Once the walls were adorned with their new hues, Amelia focused on her furnishings. She sought out comfortable, inviting pieces that would encourage relaxation. A plush armchair, upholstered in a soft, velvety fabric, became the centerpiece of her quiet space. It was a chair that invited her to sink in, to curl up with a book, or simply gaze out the window at the world below. A small side table, crafted from reclaimed wood, offered a place for her favorite cup of tea, the warmth of the mug a gentle reminder to pause and breathe. To further enhance the atmosphere, Amelia incorporated elements that appealed to her senses. She filled the room with plants, their vibrant greens a stark contrast to the muted walls. A snake plant in the corner stood tall and proud, while a delicate peace lily graced her windowsill, its white blooms a symbol of tranquility. The air became infused with the earthy scent of soil and greenery, a reminder of nature's quiet resilience amidst urban chaos. Lighting played a crucial role in her transformation. She replaced the harsh overhead fixture with soft, warm lamps that cast a gentle glow across the room. String lights draped around the window frame added a whimsical touch, twinkling like stars against the backdrop of the city. In the evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Amelia would sit in her armchair, wrapped in a blanket, sipping her tea while the world outside continued its frenetic dance. As the weeks passed, her quiet space evolved into a sanctuary for her mind and soul. It became a place where she could meditate, journal, or simply sit in silence, allowing her thoughts to drift like clouds across the sky. She discovered the power of stillness, the beauty of listening to her own heartbeat amidst the chaos of life. The noise that once felt overwhelming now faded into the background, a distant murmur that no longer held sway over her peace. Amelia began to invite friends over, sharing her newfound haven with those who also sought respite from the clamor of the world. They would gather in her quiet space, sipping tea and sharing stories, laughter mingling with the soft glow of the lamps. In these moments, the noise of the city transformed into a comforting backdrop, a reminder that even amidst chaos, connection and joy could flourish. One evening, as she sat with her closest friend, Sarah, The conversation turned to the importance of creating personal sanctuaries in a noisy world. Sarah shared her struggles with anxiety, how the constant buzz of life often overwhelmed her. Inspired by Amelia's transformation, she expressed a desire to carve out her own quiet space. Together, they brainstormed ideas, discussing the power of simple rituals, lighting a candle, practicing mindfulness, or even taking a moment to breathe deeply. As the night wore on, Amelia realized that her quiet space was not merely a physical location, it was a state of mind. It was a commitment to prioritizing peace and introspection, a conscious choice to step back from the noise when needed. She understood that while the world would always be filled with sound, she had the power to cultivate her own oasis of calm, no matter where she found herself. In the end, creating her quiet space was not just about transforming her apartment, it was about redefining her relationship with the world. It was an act of self-care, a reminder that amidst the hustle and bustle, she could always carve out a moment of stillness. As she settled into her armchair one evening, a book in hand and a cup of tea by her side, Amelia smiled, knowing she had found her sanctuary, a quiet space in a noisy world, a place where she could simply be.